If you debark a tree, don't expect it to live again. You can only plant another of its kind. Environmental Governance Institute, EGI, a non-governmental organization, tries to put into reality this African design in its pursuit to promote the sustainable management of the environment and natural resources in Uganda and the Great Lakes region. This documentary is showing the impacts of fossil fuel projects supported by export credit agencies on local communities in Uganda, brought to you by Environment Governance Institute, EGI. In 2006, Uganda made the discovery of commercially viable oil deposits in the Albertine Graben in western Uganda. The discovery has attracted multinational oil and gas companies with the support from export credit agencies to explore and extract oil, which has resulted in the scramble of Albertine into 10 explorable sites. Estimates from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development indicate that 6.5 billion barrels of oil have been discovered, of which 1.4 billion barrels are recoverable. In 2006, the government of Uganda issued production licenses to the joint venture companies operating in Uganda, that is Tullow and Sinnock, to develop the oil, and in 2018, more exploration licenses were given to oil companies. Currently, the developments in Uganda's oil and gas industry are at advanced stages, where the government and oil companies have already signed production licenses and are currently negotiating the final investment decisions (FID) for the development of the petrochemical industrial park in Hoima, Uganda. The target for these projects is by the year 2023. However, communities living in and around the fossil fuel exploration and exploitation areas have had a negative taste of oil impacts happening even before the first oil hits the market. Tilenga is an oil exploration project being implemented by Total, a French multinational oil and gas company. These projects lie within the Markshan Falls National Park in the northwest of Uganda. Communities affected by the project in Bulisa district in Kakindo village, Bulisa Town Council say, during its implementation, most trees are going to be cut down, hence disrupting the environment. They also raised an issue of poor and delayed compensation of people whose land has been taken for the development of the Central Processing Facility, the CPF. Jackson Katamba and Violet Bitamale are some of the residents who have been affected by the Tilenga project.
Hati tuikaire kasumi kagenzere ngo bagarukire batugambira nti mutandike kukozesa itaka ati bintu emitende kabasisikaye.
But up to now 4 years you have not received anything, no development. Now what do I do? What do we do? Tokusobora kulima ohali, tokusobora kubyera homuti bakahakana.
At Kingfisher Oil Project in Kyangwali Sub-County, Kikube District, people living around the area say when oil was discovered in their area, they got excited, hoping to benefit from the resource. Speciosa Kadada, a resident of Ikamiro, Kyangwali, was the first person to benefit from the project when Sinnock Uganda Limited built her house after being affected by the road construction works of Ikamiro Obuhoka escarpment. Later on, things changed when the community surrounding Kingfisher Oil area began receiving eviction threats from land grabbers. Sam Kagabo, a resident of the same area, has a similar story.
Project eno ya mafuta ekatuletera twanitujinihiramo kutuletera ebirungi byonka haijama abasuma ba mataka abo amafuta abo bajani bende sente batandika kutwiba amafuta amataka
baitu abasuma bakwenda kutubinga kutwiha mbere to kusemerero kwa ntufuna obusinge no kwegonza habwenkurakurana baitu nibo ekyo nikyo kizibu kye tulina.
The Kingfisher Oil Development Project is located on the Buhuka Flats in Kikube district on the southern edge of Lake Albert and is being developed by Sinok Uganda, a Chinese company. In order to ease the export of crude oil from the Albertine Graben to Tanga port, the government of Uganda, together with that of Tanzania, launched the East African Crude Oil Export Pipeline, EACOP. The East Africa Crude Export Pipeline is a pipeline intended to bring crude oil from Albertine Graben to a port of Tanga in Tanzania, where it can be exported to world markets. It is primarily a project of 3 joint venture oil companies, Sinok, Total, and Talo, with the Uganda National Oil Company and the Tanzania Petroleum Development Corporation as shareholders. Community members in Kyarushesha, Kyangwali Sub-County, Kikube District have raised some of the challenges they are facing resulting from the project. Beatrice Kalija, a member of the Local Council 1 Executive Committee, Kyarushesha BLC1, says the coming of the project has brought about a number of social issues in the community like domestic violence, child marriages, and divorce, among others.
Abasajja bakora pipeline baine sente nyingi okubazizosya abaana baitu nibwo buzibu bunkurora hamwe n'abakazi abatayina mu kugumisiriza baswirwa abasajja baingi abo.
Fazil Kakama, the youth vice chairperson Kyarushesha ALC1 in Kyangwali, is worried that the construction of the pipeline in the area is likely to affect the environment, bring about climate change, and in case of any oil spillage, the soil will be affected.
Amastagizire kongo mukiza kwago emiti nindewa barigenda bawugitema kandi eje mito mu kugitema niyo kutereza enjura niyo kutereza shedi niyo kutereza buri kimwe kandi kuba kugitema ataho tureta twasisa life cycle ninga cycle yenzura.
The government of Uganda expropriated 2,957 hectares from communities in 13 surrounding villages in Buseruka Sub-County and Hoima District to create the Kabale Industrial Park in 2014. It was intended that the park would include an airport intended to serve the oil and gas developments, as well as an oil refinery and crude oil export hub, and will have various services, including roads, electricity, and water supply. The airport will become Uganda's second international airport. But the oil extraction has impacted local residents in a number of ways. 7,000 individuals belonging to communities in Kabale, Buseruka, Hoima district were in fact evicted to pave way for the construction of an oil refinery. They were offered the choice between compensation and resettlement. While some residents have been compensated and moved to new settlements, some of those who opted for resettlement have been resettled at Kyakaboga village. Some of the people who were resettled by the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development narrate the difficulties they're going through after leaving their homes to pave way for the refinery construction.
Government had promised us a lot of things that we will get this side. They said all services will be near us. We will not face challenges with them. We will not have to move a very long distance. So, but up to now, you can see the status that we are still in.
Kandi imbere zetu inzitire titurikara mu nzu ziri mu kampo titwine irwariro
kandi n'obutale buli harayira tutakusobora kukahikira bwangu bwangu abacara tukusanga mechezo buti China sente zo tukonyera kuguraguraho bunto bwo kutuyama.
Up to now we have no land title. The way we are here, it is the same as people who are in camp or like refugees, because we don't have any document.
However, some members of the civil society have urged the Ugandan government to ensure that it seriously addresses issues concerning fossil fuels, promote tourism and transition to clean energy. We spoke to Sandra Atusinguza, the Field Officer, Africa Institute of Energy Governance, AFIEGO, and Macris Mugume, the Programs Manager, Kakindo Integrated Women Development Organization in Bulisa District.
Oil and gas activities will have impacts on our environment, right from the oil pipelines, the refineries, and other developments, the ones government is championing. So, in this regard, I call upon government to invest much in the clean energy alternatives. They provide incentives to the business communities around. They provide tax holidays on these appliances like solar panels, solar lights, lanterns, among others.
Oil companies themselves to have some mitigation measures in terms of environmental conservation. They should set up some nursery beds for indigenous trees. We are looking at now communities resisting these oil companies. The reason is they are not adequately compensated. So the government should adequately compensate these communities. And the other thing, the oil companies should continuously involve women. During time of a SEA consultation of the Terenga project, we could see the views of women who are left out.
This is that the export credit agencies, these are companies that provide financial guarantees and insurance to home-based companies to work in outside countries. You find in Uganda who have mainly been looking into companies that work directly on oil, like Total, Twalo, and Sinok. But you find they get a lot of the insurance that enable them to work in our countries. And the impact that this tend to have on our people, it tends to be too much. But if there's a way that we can be able to decarbonize them, that they can transfer these investments into other sectors, like we need to go into transitioning to clean energy, and which has a lot of potential. So I would like to call upon the government, call upon the national and international community. Let's promote the transitioning to clean energy. The communities have spoken. What is your role? Play your part. Let's try to transition to clean and affordable energy, and this can bring development to the entire country.
As the population continues to grow, so will the demand for cheap energy, and an economy reliant on fossil fuels is creating drastic changes to our climate. Investing in solar, wind, and thermal power, improving energy productivity, and ensuring energy for all is vital if we are to achieve Sustainable Development Goal 7 by 2030. There is also need to promote tourism so as to reduce over-dependency on oil as the country's major source of revenue. For God and Mike.